honestly, I started off really scared. 7 days without food, I doubted I was strong enough. It turns out I was strong enough, and I had loads of breakthroughs in understanding myself, and that fast has been one of the most transformational single events that I've done in my life. So in this video, I want to share with you a 7-step guide based on my experience and how you can make any fast that you might want to do not only a physical learning journey, but something that teaches you loads about who you are. And at the end, I want to share with you a bonus tip that comes from a slightly embarrassing mistake that I made at the end of my fast. If you're new here, hi, I'm George, and I'm a filmmaker and a Tai Chi teacher. And here on the channel, we explore ancient ideas and practices, as well as modern science, supporting each other on our journeys towards feeling more resilient, more peaceful, and balanced. And just a quick note on what I mean by fasting. I mean an extended water fast, where you have literally nothing except from maybe herbal teas for an extended period of time, maybe 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days. Fasting has been a fundamental practice in all spiritualities and religions around the world for the mental clarity that you're supposed to gain from it. And here are my 7 steps on how to get the most out of any fasting adventure that you may go on. Let's do this. A really important place to start is understanding why you want to fast. And an invitation is to not just see fasting as a physical adventure, but something deeper than that. Like if you wanted to do fasting just to lose weight, maybe reflecting on why do I want to lose weight? What would I get from it? Would I feel lovable? Would I feel beautiful? And if you get to that being the reason why you want to fast, an offering is, my friend, that you're already beautiful, you're already enough just as you are, and you don't need to do any fasting. But you give yourself that feeling with no ifs, no buts, no whens, no conditions, to be enough now. But if you don't feel enough now, a fast could be an interesting time to turn inwards and to really understand why that is arising. And for me, one of my big intentions was to try and understand my compulsive and craving aspect of myself, who I called impulse stiltskin, who would often get me to eat when I'm feeling lonely or stressed as a way to distract myself from these difficult emotions. And so one of my intentions was to become more intimate with these aspects of myself, to understand more clearly the strategies that I use and the thinking and the beliefs that I have about who I am and what conditions I put upon myself to feel okay. So perhaps pausing the video now or reflecting later, why do I want to do a fast? And to keep on asking, why is this thing important? If it's just losing weight, why is that important? And that second why, or the third why, is often where the more interesting learning about ourselves takes place. If you could condense your why into a sentence, I'll share later how that can be helpful during the fast. You want something inside you pulling you towards the fast instead of you forcing yourself to do it, where you feel like there's part of you that wants to punish yourself for the fast. I would invite that they are the wrong intentions for you, and maybe talking with trusted people or a therapist can help you get in the right mindset to really drop into the healing power of fasting. All right, so you set your why, and now books. I love reading, and here are 2 beautiful books that really helped me on my journey: The Transformative Power of Fasting and The Fasting Handbook. The Transformative Power of Fasting is more of a spiritual book about how it can teach you about yourself. The Fasting Handbook really gives you the science of what's happening in your body. Both I highly recommend. Step number 3 is start small. If in your intentions you set, I want to transcend suffering and learn how to levitate, I invite you to think smaller, my friend. And even before you get to a 5-day fast or a 7-day fast, why not try intermittent fasting and see how your body responds to that? So basically skipping breakfast or dinner and having 16 hours a day where you're not eating any food, becoming more comfortable with hunger, realizing that you don't die immediately if you don't have a Kit Kat chunky every 2 hours. That would build up your confidence in your body for when you go to the extended fast. Idea number 4 is ease into it. So actually my hardest day during my fasting adventure was day -1, where I had all this fear about what was coming up, where I'd had a big weekend, I needed to land, needed to rest properly. I then spent a couple of days without coffee and eating light vegetables in order to help ease myself into the longer fast. And then I did a 2-day juice fast, which again just eased my body into having less and less food and tapping into ketosis, fat burning, as the source of my energy. And because I eased in 2 days no coffee and healthy foods, 2 days of juice, when eventually I got to the rest of the water fast, where I had literally nothing but water and herbal teas, it actually felt easy. And the hardest day was my fears going into the fast. There's a tendency in our society to be strong about challenges. I'm just going to do 7 days of no food and go straight into it. In The Transformative Power of Fasting, the book says that to do that isn't to inflict physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual violence on yourself. And that attitude is actually the very source of a lot of the harshness and pain that we have in our lives. And fasting is about getting to something deeper about who we are. And so if we enter into the fast with that same strong, forcing energy, that's actually going to then manifest in the fast itself. So ease into it. Idea number 5, making friends with hunger. Yes, I'll be real, not having my daily dose of vegan brownies was tough. I love food. And so, yeah, there are times where I had these thoughts of when will this torture end, and hunger is no friend of mine. And where some of the deep learning comes from the fast is that rather than running away from this suffering, is that we meet it with as much kindness as we can muster, and just to be present with it and not to resist it, and to realize that actually we are okay, even though we have thoughts and fears telling us that we can't do this and it's too tough and I deserve to have all the food. And yeah, food is great, but this adventure that you're thinking about going on is this time where we actually really drop into just being by ourselves without distraction, which is why it's so deep. And so an invitation is to make friends with the hunger and just to continue to invite acceptance, saying yes. A mantra you could repeat, saying yes to the experience. I accept you without resistance. Before I get to the next tip, I'd love to hear your thoughts and contributions to our learning journeys together and in this community. What ideas do you have to make fasting easier, and is fasting even right for you? And if not, I'd love to know your thoughts about that. And just while I'm on that, I'm not recommending fasting. If we go back to the intention settings, it has to be something that is calling you. And my body did find it quite easy, but it may be different for you, and you may have different intentions and different experiences. And so this journey being something that you choose to do for yourself, for your own body, for your own journey is really important. You've got to make that decision instead of just taking my word for it that it was good for me. And that's when you empower yourself. All right, idea number 6 is using prayer. So in this journey, I understood prayer for the first time, which is, yeah, I've had these fears of not being strong enough to get through, and prayer is an invitation for a strength bigger than myself. George, small George, with all my thinking and my ego thoughts, is telling me that I can't do this, but physiologically, nature has given me a body that can easily go without food for days and even weeks. And so prayer is the process of acknowledging our small self weakness and surrendering to the greater self. Nature, Tao, God, Allah, whatever word works for you, the forces of nature if you are atheist. So coming back to the why, the intention that you set for this journey, you can use that as a mantra when you are struggling, is to pray to the reason why you are doing this. And here are some mantras that I used. I ask for strength. I am strength. Man does not live by bread alone. That's Jesus's phrase on how we can be nourished by things that aren't just food. Instead of distraction, I choose to know myself. Instead of compulsion, I choose freedom. So yeah, when you're reflecting on your fast, what are some mantras that you can repeat? One of the big ones I shared in the video is, what if this was easy? And that mantra helped me break out of the fear and the worry and just stay present. What if it was easy? All right, before we get to tip number 7, I want to give a bonus tip, and that is to watch out when you're finishing the fast. Because I thought I was going to be sensible, but once I'd broken the seal, I'll be real with you, I basically ate a whole cabbage and my gut was not happy with me. And I'll spare you the details, but I had to process a whole cabbage worth after going from no food for a week. And so I would say maybe doing a day of juicing before you get to light vegetables. That will ease your way out, and to really try and honor your digestive system, because yeah, it wasn't good for me to eat that much. And then I think even cabbage was too light. Doing something lighter, lettuce, celery, tomatoes, vegetables that can ease your gut into going back to normal digestion. Tip number 7 is to journal, to record your adventure, particularly at the start with your intentions, and then each day, because yeah, there's loads of interesting learning that can come out of this. What comes up for you when you're not distracting yourself? You finally get to spend time with yourself in reflection and to see yourself fully. There's loads of learning that can happen from that. So I did video journals, which is turned into the final video on the YouTube channel, or you can write down or do voice notes. I've made a PDF guide of how you can make fasting a transformative experience for you. There's a link in the description if you want to download that. And if you enjoy exploring with me, I've made a playlist with Taoist ideas. Taoism is the philosophy that's taught me so much and what I've been sharing mostly on the channel. Breath work, Tai Chi, lots of learning for you to get yourself into. So continue the learning journey by clicking there. Thank you so much for watching, my friends, and I hope your fasting adventures serve you and you learn more about yourself. I'd love to learn more about your experience in the comments down below. Have an amazing day. See you soon.